Okay, so I'm here to talk about my modern deck. It's robots. Um, so I'm gonna go over the lands first. Uh, the only artifact land in the format with Darksteel Citadel. Four Blinkmoth Nexuses, four Inkmoth Nexuses, two Glimmer Voids, and a mountain. Just to be path tags off proof. The reason I'm not running more Glimmer Voids is because 15 lands, and these are not as good as any of the other lands. So um, then our cards that are like lands but aren't are the Springleaf Drums and four Mox Opals. Um, the legend rule does help out. The new legend rule helps out Mox Opal a lot more, and then Springleaf Drum is good for your Ravager and Cradle Plating effects. So yeah. Um, the main reason I've decided to go the red route is because I personally I like it more, and Thoughtcast is a great card, but Divination isn't that good. Um, Usually it's better than Divination, but in a format that's like mostly fair decks like Marilla Pod and things like that, um, you want more burn just because it like allows you to win the creature battles, and it allows you just to get those last points of damage in. So we have the three Shrapnel Blast and the four Galvanic Blast. Shrapnel Blast isn't as good as Galvanic Blast when the format is more remand heavy. So yeah. Then we have our zero drops that aren't Mox Opals with four Midnights and four Ornithopters. Or no, sorry, three Midnights, four Ornithopters. The reason that it's four is because this has evasion, and even though it doesn't have power, it is better because it does have the evasion and it does block things like Lingering Souls, and it it's just better like with equipment and stuff, which you know am ravaging onto. So then we have four Signal Pest. It makes all your zero drops and all your creatures actual threats. Then we have four Vault Scourges. Most important card in the mono red matchup, except for Cradle Plating. Then we have we have our Cradle Plating effects. We have four Cradle Platings and four Bound Ravengers. Um, this is better most of the time. The times it's not better is if your opponent has an Abrupt Decay, and that's why we've moved to the four Ravengers. Um, it's These are the most important cards in the deck, of course. I mean, it's Affinity or robots, because there are no cards with Affinity in the deck. Um, but because we are now running this, our there's a third pump effect in the deck with Steel Overseer. Now, if you've ever played with Gavony Township, the card's good, but this card just it makes your Arcbound Ravengers better, it makes all your lands better, and it makes your zero costings and Signal Pests and things like that just so much better threats that like the card is good on its own. Like it was a real big factor in the Affinity deck and Standard, and this card's just so much better. So like these are all the pump effects. Yeah, I would really go this route. It just like randomly wins games, and with Inkmoth Nexus, any of these pump effects can just possibly be lethal. And then we have my favorite card in the deck. Most decks go three, and they have like an extra Springleaf Drum or Midnight in the deck, but I believe four is the correct number, just because there's so many matches that where when you cast this card, like it's super hard for Jund to beat it. It's like there are games where you shouldn't win that you just play it as champion, use your pump effects, and just win the game outright. So then the sideboard, um, So I want to change the sideboard a little bit. So I'll flip over cards, but I have 2 Spell Pierces for any deck that I think will bring in Shadowstorm. The deck is good against Shadowstorm, but like insurance is not very bad. Then 2 Ancient Grudges um for the mirror match and for any deck that you think is bringing in Batterskull and Vendakin Shackles. Then we have 2 Spellskites. Spellskites for the twin matchup. Then we have Rest in Peace. There's supposed to be 2 here. One's in my EDH deck, so Bloodmoon. It comes in against most matchups. It it attacks the mana base modern, and that's why it's good. Um, it it does hurt you a little bit because of all your man lands, but like I I personally believe it's the best card in the sideboard instead of the Ancient Grudges. Um, okay, and then we have 1 Thorn of Amethyst, 1 Ray of Revelation, and 1 Relic of Opportunitas. Um, Relic comes in against almost the same decks Rest in Peace coming in against, but it's a more of a against the control decks that run Snapcaster Mage. It gets them more. Um, because with Snapcaster Mage, you don't really care about exiling the graveyard forever. You want them to have to play around this, but it's also an artifact count, so it's never really dead against those decks. But you really have to have Rest in Peace against the Living Death decks. So and you really want Rest in Peace against the Tower Whip decks where you don't really want Relic as much. You still want Relic against those decks, but it's not as good. Then we have Thorn of Amethyst. It's the worst card in the sideboard by far. It doesn't always do what you want to do, but it's never bad. Um, it it allows you to not die to Storm, and that's why it's in the sideboard, just in case you run into a Storm deck. But you bring those in against Storm, you bring that. Almost, I think your entire sideboard comes against Storm except Ray of Revelation. But it's just another way not to die to Storm. And then there's Ray of Revelation. It's for the Boggle decks and the Twin decks. So thank you for watching the video. And if you decide to run the deck, tell me what you think about it. And any tips, just comment down below.